Welcome to another Fantasy Goodfellas video where we talk about the top 24 quarterback rankings for Week 4. You ready?
The Fantasy Goodfellas.
Rolling on the field.
The Fantasy Goodfellas.
All right, we're going to talk about the top 24 quarterback rankings for Week 4, but I know most of you are going to go ahead and set your lineups and your quarterbacks already. So this video is just to kind of help those who are kind of questioning which one to start. Last week I had Daniel Jones and Tua. Had to go with Tua, even though Daniel Jones was the top quarterback. We just hope some of these stats, some of these matchups will help you with your lineups. All right, let's just get started. At number 1, you got Josh Allen, home versus Miami. Now, again, to see Josh Allen ranked 1 already for this matchup is surprising because Josh Allen has not been the number 1 ranked quarterback at all this season. So in Week 1, he was the 20th ranked quarterback, Week 2, 7th, and in Week 3, he was 8th. And now you're expecting him to be the top quarterback for Week 1? I think he's going to do well. I don't know if he's going to be the top quarterback. But if you got Josh Allen, you're rolling with it anyways. At number 2, Jalen Hurts, home versus Washington. Here we go. We got Jalen Hurts was the 9th ranked quarterback in Week 3. He did that with 277 passing yards, 1 passing TD, and 28 rushing yards with a TD. And that was only good for the number 9. I would take that every week, but if you got Jalen Hurts, you're rolling with him. At number 3, Patrick Mahomes at the New York Jets. Now, if you are a fantasy owner of some of these skill positions, unfortunately, Mahomes and Kelsey are the only 2 that are really standout performers each and every week. Otherwise, you'll have a mixed match of different players that can kind of perform well, but Patrick Mahomes, obviously, you're going to roll with him throughout the whole season. If he's playing, you're starting him. But so no big decision making there. Number 4, Justin Herbert, home versus the Las Vegas Raiders. Justin Herbert's warming up. This is the Justin Herbert that we have all expected him to do. Previous seasons, he's kind of been a letdown, but 405 passing yards and 3 passing TDs. Yes, this is what I want if I'm a Justin Herbert owner. Finally, give me some stats. At number 5, Joe Burrow at the Tennessee Titans. Joe Burrow's been disappointing all season, did fairly well, but if you look at this ranking, if you have a 16-team league, which is rare, not everybody has 16 teams in their fantasy football, he's ranked 26. And each week previously to that, he was the 31st, 21st, and the 26th best quarterback. If you were Joe Burrow, you could have started your second stringer and maybe did better. Surprising, but Joe Burrow looked good in Week 3. He was slinging it, finally getting it to Jamar Chase. So much better, much improved. At number 6, Tua Tagovailoa at Buffalo Bills. Now, he's been playing lights out, yet he's not getting any respect if you're putting him at this ranking. So let's look overall. He was the number 1 ranked quarterback in Week 1, number 2, second ranked quarterback in Week 3, and he was mediocre in Week 2. But they're winning. So if you got Tua, you're playing him. At number 7, Lamar Jackson at the Cleveland Browns. Lamar Jackson, 3rd best quarterback in Week 3. He did that with 202 passing yards, 101 rushing yards, and 2 rushing TDs. That's what you want from him, right? Can you get that every week? Probably not. But this is why you draft him. He gets into the end zone by rushing. Number 8, Kirk Cousins at the Carolina Panthers. Now, again, people put Justin Jefferson was the number 1 drafted player in most fantasy football leagues. How is he going to do that? He's going to do that with a quarterback in Kirk Cousins. So I'm always surprised that Kirk Cousins is not ranked higher. But here, Kirk Cousins has been in the top 10 every week. He wasn't drafted like that, I can tell you that much. But number 9, Justin Fields, home versus the Denver Broncos. So again, Justin Fields, the 24th ranked quarterback in week 3. Should you bench him? Just by looking at the stats, you're considering it. Maybe you play him, maybe you don't. But Justin Fields, I want to take a look at each week so far this season. And we did that by being the 15th ranked quarterback in week 1. And he's slipping. Ranked 20th and 24th, not cutting it. Justin Fields, got to consider benching him. At number 10, Daniel Jones, home versus the Seattle Seahawks. Now, I own Daniel Jones in my league. I knew that Daniel Jones is going to have that up and down type season, right? He's going to win you some games. He was the number 1 quarterback in week 2. Now, all of a sudden, he drops back off, and he's the Daniel Jones that could do. Jekyll and Hyde. But this is good if you have Daniel Jones later in the season. He'll probably warm up a little bit, and if some of your other quarterbacks get hurt, Daniel Jones is a good backup. But I did not start Daniel Jones, and he's in the top 10. I don't like him here. At number 11, Russell Wilson at the Chicago Bears. Now, Russell Wilson, they got blown out, but if you look at his stats, this is decent, right? 306 passing yards, 23 completions, but they're getting the attempts. It didn't work out in week 3, but he was the 20th ranked quarterback. Let's just take a look at his rankings through the season so far. He was the 16th best quarterback in week 1, 3rd best quarterback in week 2, and then he was the 20th outside. He's a backup, in my mind, in week 3. What should you expect from him in week 4? Chicago, I think he could do well. I like him. I like them to be in the top 16. Number 12, Trevor Lawrence, home versus the Atlanta Falcons. I think this is going to be the breakout game for Trevor Lawrence. I think they're throwing the ball just isn't being caught. It's just not going their way. But I still like Trevor Lawrence this week. But again, I always look at rankings. If you have 2 quarterbacks, Trevor Lawrence, if he's starting, you're looking at that backup if he's ranked 18. At number 13, you got Geno Smith at the New York Giants. Now, Geno, again, you're kind of that you're just outside that top 16. And I always look at 16 as being the starter in fantasy leagues. He's just on the outside. And if you're on the outside, you're considering your backup, your second quarterback. But Metcalf had a good game. You got Kenneth Walker. He's doing it, but 3 catches, 59 yards. If you take out that 59 yards, 240 passing yards for Geno Smith. I don't know, but he's just got so many weapons. I think he has weapons. But you got to consider it. Here you go. Deshaun Watson, number 14, Deshaun Watson, home versus Baltimore. Now, Watson's warming up. If you look at his stats throughout it's on the upward trajectory. This is what you want if you're a Watson owner. I think you're starting Watson in week 4. You got to. If you look at his TDs, that's what you get. And if you look at his points, it's on that upward trajectory. Hopefully, Deshaun Watson continues. And if you're a Watson owner, it's going to make you happy. Here you go. Number 15, Brock Purdy, home versus the Arizona Cardinals. I just think Brock Purdy is looking smooth. Look, he was the 13th best quarterback in week 3, 310 passing yards, 2 passing TDs. There's no question that guy is a drop-back quarterback. He can do really well. Let's look at his season so far. Week 3, again, warming up. And that's without Brandon Ayuk. So you put Brandon Ayuk back in there, he's going to do well. I like him to kind of continue his upward trajectory and get into that top 10. At number 16, Jordan Love. Here's a player that it's number 16, Jordan Love, home versus the Detroit Lions. This should be this week's shootout. And the reason why I say that is Jordan Love is slowly just improving, getting more comfortable, and I think it's going to bode really well over the season. He's got some weapons, in my opinion. And the reason why he has weapons is because, remember, this is without Aaron Jones. If you put Aaron Jones back in, now all of a sudden it's going to open things back up. You're going to get some more yardage. And but look at this: 2 TDs and about 190, almost 300 total yards. I expect Jordan Love to be 16, just outside the top 10 this week. At number 17, Anthony Richardson, home versus the Los Angeles Rams. Now, I think there's a quarterback controversy going on here at the Indianapolis. You got Gardner Minshew playing well, and I just think that there's going to be some. I'm not sure Anthony Richardson's going to start. They might, in the later of the week, go with Minshew. He just is a more experienced quarterback, and I think even if Richardson starts and he's not doing well, you might pull him. So I expect somehow to be some issues in Indianapolis this week. At number 18, you got Dak Prescott, home versus the New England Patriots. And the thing about Dak Prescott is you're expecting Dak Prescott to be a top 5 quarterback every week. And they lost, and this is what his stats look like. Mediocre. And again, anybody that I see who's ranked 19th, 16th, 17th and greater could be benched on your fantasy football teams. And I think Prescott, you have to kind of consider it. But he's the name. He's a marquee name, so you're going to keep playing him. It really depends on who your backup is. At number 19, Jared Goff at the Green Bay Packers. Jared Goff, when you see this, I don't really care about that Russian TD. Take that out because he's not going to get too many Russian TDs. But 243 yards, 1 passing TD, that's right inside that top 15. I think he's going to do better than that. I like the matchup this week going against Green Bay. That could be a shootout depending on how that plays out. At number 20, Matthew Stafford at the Indianapolis Colts. I think this is going to be a lopsided game for one team to the other. Either Matthew Stafford's going to light it up or the Colts are going to light it up. But Matthew Stafford kind of mediocre this season. Yeah, he had a great week 1. Week 2, over 300 passing yards, but let's look at the points. That's how it plays out. It's kind of erratic, and he can give you – that team looks a little erratic this season. Again, you got to consider Stafford being on the bench, depending on who your other quarterback is. At number 21, C.J. Stroud, home versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, I like Stroud this week. I think he can do well. I think the Steelers are not showing that they're a great team. So I think there's some possibilities that Stroud can have a really good game. And if I just want to see his week rankings, because if you're not familiar with these quarterbacks, listen, week 1, he was 22, expected, rookie. Week 2, 13th. Week 3, 12th. You got to start trusting him. I mean, if he continues there, if he's picked up, some people picked him up off of waiver wires. You got to consider him, and I think some people dropped him, and you might be regretting it. At number 22, you got Kenny Pickett at the Houston Texans. I don't like Pickett. I just don't think he's dependable, reliable. I don't know what that offense is doing. There's no standout stars happening over there. And I think that's kind of showing when you look at overall. The only person I think is a standout is Freiermuth. And everybody else is going to be decent, but they're not going to be those breakouts. And Pickett is not helping you. Even though you got 235 passing yards and 2 TDs, that put him at 15th. Can you trust him? And it's that weekly ranking that always scares me. 21st, 29th, 15th, yeah. I don't know. He's a gamble. I'd consider benching him. At number 23, Jimmy Garoppolo. He's at 23. If anybody watched that game, besides that injury, he was playing really well. So 23, Jimmy Garoppolo at the Los Angeles Chargers. I can't see why not. This is not. Oh, look, we got to update Jimmy Garoppolo. He's not with San Francisco. So the idea is Jimmy Garoppolo is warming up. They got the weapons. And if you look at this team here, 324 yards and 2 passing TDs, and he was injured. So I like that. Jacoby Myers, Renfro, Adams. You get Josh Jacobs in the passing game. There's no question why Jimmy Garoppolo can't be higher. You put him at 23, wrong. Must be much higher. And at number 24, you got Sam Howell at the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, let's take a look at Sam Howell for a second. So, if you look at this, don't know really much about him. Haven't watched the Commanders game. So, let's look at, he's got Curtis Samuel. He's got Terry McLaurin. You got Dotson, Robinson, Gibson. Again, Sam Howell doesn't do much for me. I don't really know what to expect with Sam Howell, but being 24th, if you got nobody else, I would not trust him for this week. That is our top 24 quarterback rankings. I hope I gave you my opinion about some of these players, and I'm always looking at, really it should be a top 16, but we do a top 24 rankings just to kind of give you that backup quarterback, how they're going to do. I think there's a couple questionable rankings this week for those predictions. But anyways, don't always stick with your marquee players. You got to gamble sometimes, and sometimes that includes starting your backup. Anyways, thanks for watching. Don't forget to pay attention to our waiver wire pickups. We'll do a video about that. We'll also do a video about the injury reports. And thanks for watching. This is my way that I do my fantasy football research each week. It kind of keeps me engaged with it. So I hope you like it. But thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you again.